Hey, it's Travels with Dottie coming at you with another full-time RV life informational video. It's something I was thinking about when I got up this morning. When I got up and did some grooming on my cat and played with my dog. And it answers the question, why do so many nomads travel with pets? What is that all about? What are the pluses and minuses, and how do we do it? So the first thing is that the reason I travel with my pet, and I'm going to assume it's the reason many other people do, is because I wouldn't consider doing it otherwise. I have had dogs and cats my entire adult life. I grew up with dogs. As an adult, I made a decision to have dogs in my life, and it is, in my view, a one source of unconditional love from another living, breathing being, and it is an amazing thing. Many of us describe our pets as like children. They're part of the family. There is an emotional connection and a bond, and that becomes maybe more important in some cases for people like me that are nomads and change location frequently. It's consistency in that emotional connection, and it staves off the occasional loneliness that I experience. If you don't feel really strongly about dogs or cats or whatever pet you may think about, then it may not be a good idea to embark on that journey while being a nomad, because there are some difficulties. Number one is that not all pets travel well. Now, I'm lucky with Dottie back here. Dottie loves riding in the car. She loves travel days. I have a little bed set up on the passenger seat, and she will sleep. She'll sit up and look out the window. She'll look at me. She's in absolute heaven. George, my cat, on the other hand, there was a time when I first started traveling that I thought I would have to adopt George out. Her traveling was so miserable for both him and I, because George is prone to motion sickness. And I remember the first time it was terrible. He was vomiting, defecating, and was making terrible sounds, and it was absolutely miserable for George. And I tried everything that I could think of to try to mitigate that. Small cages, big cages, traveling in the trailer, traveling in the truck, traveling without a cage in the truck, which, by the way, could be dangerous if you're not careful. And nothing seemed to work until I ran out of options, and I explained to my veterinarian everything I'd done. And she said, the only thing you can really do here is sedate George. And that's in fact what I do now. I have a prescription medication that's in liquid form, and about an hour before I leave on travel days, and thank goodness I don't have that many travel days. This would not be possible if I was the kind of nomad, and there are plenty of them out there, that maybe travel every 2 weeks year round. That would be terrible to be sedating an animal every 2 weeks. As it stands, George gets sedated maybe at the most 8 to 10 times a year. Pardon me. And that allows George to relax, doesn't get sick, doesn't make any like painful sort of suffering noises. And I'm not saying I'm convinced that George enjoys the travel, but George tolerates the travel much better. But that was a real serious consideration for me. And the idea of having to give either George or Dottie up for adoption so I could continue to travel is it's almost unfathomable for me. So that's something to consider. And you may not know if you go out and get a pet, you may not know until it's too late that that pet is able to travel. So I would suggest that, for example, if you're going to adopt a cat or a dog, you find a way to maybe do a trial where I know they have nonprofits that do foster care for pets. Maybe you might get involved in doing that and traveling with these pets before you pull the trigger to make that permanent decision. I don't know how possible or practical that is. People in the comments may be able to speak more intelligently to that. I haven't been through that. So I got lucky in two ways. One, I got a dog that I got long before I decided to do this lifestyle, that I got lucky, very lucky there, that I got a dog that loves motion, loves to travel. And I got lucky in that with George, I found a solution that works for both of us. Even if you have a pet or pets that you don't have any travel problems with, they love to travel, you still have restrictions that you need to think about. One is that, every once in a while, I used to go on cruises, and every once in a while, it'd be nice to just park the rig somewhere and go on a 7-day cruise. Yes, I can do that. I could leave Dottie and George with friends, or I can leave them in a professional place that will take care of your pets. And I've done that, and with prior animals, and the guilt I felt when I saw the on the return was, I won't do it. I mean, some people don't have a problem doing it. I can't do it. I won't, unless it's some kind of emergency. I will not leave Dottie and George to go do something recreational more than overnight. Now, there are exceptions, like the surgery I have coming up. If something happens where I have to stay overnight for a night or two, they'll be taken care of here by my friends. I don't have a problem with that. But making a decision to leave for a week for recreational purposes is something that I'm not willing to do. Now, that's a personal choice. You may be willing to do that. You don't have an issue doing that. Maybe you have a close friend that you travel with that will take care of your pets, and you have that freedom. Personally, I don't have that freedom. The other thing that you consider during certain times of the year in certain areas of the country, the heat can be too much for these pets if you're not running air conditioning. And if you're moving from RV park to RV park, this is not a consideration. But if you have a lifestyle like mine, where much of it is like right now, I've been here, it's March 9th, and I've been here since February 12th. Or, excuse me, I've been here since November 12th. So November 12th through March 9th, I've been here out in the desert, and I don't have air conditioning. The only electric I have is my solar. Most days, it's not going to be an issue for heat if I leave the pets for a few hours. I just leave the windows open and things are fine. But there are, even, especially this time of year, into March and April, there could be days that'll be in the 90s plus, and I'm not able to leave the pets unattended in here for any length of time, or it can be dangerous. So there's that restriction. Now, I have some ways around that. I have a huge battery bank. I have a way to remotely gauge the temperature in an emergency, or not emergency, but an urgent situation. I remotely can turn on my air conditioner and it'll run off my batteries, and I'll have plenty of time to get home to fire up the generator and keep that air conditioning going and keep my pet safe. But not everyone has that option. Especially maybe if you're traveling in a car or a van, and as you're living out of a van, that space can heat up very, very quickly and can be very dangerous. Those are the things that I think about in terms of safety. Also, healthcare, right? If you're going to be constantly on the move, it's going to be very difficult for you to maintain a long-term relationship with a veterinarian. Dottie's veterinarian is in Pahrump, and I'm not in Pahrump for months and months at a time. I left Pahrump in November, and I've been gone ever since. I can't run Dottie to it's not practical for me to run Dottie or George back to Pahrump. So I have to find a veterinarian that I can count on here, who maybe has to reinvent if something serious happens, they need to reinvent the wheel. They don't know anything about my pet. They have to review the records. So you need to be sure to carry records with you and understand what the local veterinarian schema is like. How far do I have to go? It's not enough just to know there's a veterinarian over in the next town. Is it a veterinarian that's able to take new clients? Sometimes they say, no, we're full. We can't take new clients. The other thing you need to be aware of if you want to be safe is wherever you go is not only do you need to be aware of emergency services for you, like is there an ambulance available, where's the closest hospital, but you need to know that for your pet. And there are no pet ambulances. I'm sure you know that. So you have to be prepared to take your pet in a moment's notice, maybe at 2 o'clock in the morning, to the closest emergency 24-hour veterinary clinic. And we tend to camp pretty remotely, and it could be several hours away. Now it's not enough, right, to Google 24-hour emergency vet closest to you. That's a problem for two reasons. One, the information may not be correct anymore. And two, there are often other closer options. How do you find out about those other closer options? You find a local vet that's non-emergency, and you call them and you ask them, what can people do in this area if they have an emergency with their pet in the middle of the night? And you may find out that vet has someone on call that may be available to you. Make the call. Talk to people in the veterinary community locally to find out, because what you don't want to have happen is a pet that you love dearly have a medical emergency in the middle of the night, and you're scrambling around figuring out what to do and where to go. So that's something that you need to, every time you move from one location to another, you have to repeat that process, and it's time consuming, right? And it's easy to sort of blow it off, oh, it's not going to happen. But trust me, this is the thing that you will deeply regret if you have an emergency in the middle of the night with your pet and you can't figure out what to do, and you lose your pet because you didn't prepare. So once you have that knowledge in your head, what are you going to do? You're going to go through this preparation process every time that you move, and it's a little bit of a chore. It's an added to do when you move, and it belongs as part of you should have a checklist every time you move for how to prepare your rig and how to prepare for yourself and your pets on every single move. All right. And this becomes really kind of a pain in the neck when you're moving every day. Maybe you're going cross country, right? You're taking 7 or 10 days to cross the country, and you're making your 7 or 10 moves. And if you really want to be prepared, every time you get to a new RV park or new campsite, you need to get on the phone and find out. And you can get tired of doing that really quickly. But the one time that it happens and you don't do it, you'll have a hard time. I'd have a hard time forgiving myself, frankly. So that's a lot of baggage that you take on when you have pets, but I would not trade it for the world. I love my dog Dottie. I love my cat George, and I can't fathom doing this lifestyle without my beloved pets. So I hope you found this video interesting and useful, especially if you're out there, you're getting close to retirement, you're watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and you're trying to think, can I do this? Can I do this lifestyle? Can I really retire the way these people that I see on YouTube are retiring? And the answer is probably yes, you can, yet consider these things that I'm telling you. And as far as my videos, I tell you, you're not seeing the idyllic Instagram life. You're seeing my real life. You're seeing the struggles that I go through, the fears that I have. I'm an open book to you. But I tell you, despite all the things that I tell you about that are hard, like these things I'm telling you about my pets, my fears about having surgery, figuring out how to the fears I have about recovering from my surgery, my little trailer, and all these things are real struggles, but totally worth it. I mean, does it ever cross my mind? This is in this coming winter, December, it'll be 4 years retired on the road. And have I ever had a moment where I thought maybe I made a mistake and I should be anchored somewhere? Not a single time has that thought even crossed my mind. That should tell you something. Not everyone's built for this, but if you're like me, I'm built for this. I love this lifestyle. And if you're interested in it and you're listening to me, watching me and other people on YouTube, and you're getting excited about it, I'm a little jealous. That last year, I was so excited about dreaming about this lifestyle. And that last year at work, I had I had an Excel spreadsheet that I still have it that had my total budget, everything. And it had all these what if scenarios in, best case, worst case, most likely case, everything. And recreationally, if I, like when lunchtime came at work, I would bring that up and I'd tweak it every single day and make it more and more accurate, more to the penny. And I was obsessed. And I retired and I never looked at that spreadsheet again. But I was excited. I was excited to embark on this lifestyle. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, bless you. And I appreciate you watching me. Take care. See you in the next one.